Hi everyone, this is Peter. I'm the Unit Coordinator for EDU 3012, Teaching Science and Technology. Welcome to the unit, and this is our first flipped collaborate for the teaching period. Our first assignment is a folio which requires you to produce 2 videos with 2 rationales supporting the videos. Now, it might seem a bit daunting at first, but we'll go through it in quite a bit of detail, and then we'll also have our live collaborate to further support your understandings. I look like a little bit of a ghost here in the background, but it's quite nice. It has one of those effects where it blurs you a bit and you don't look quite as old. Here we go, let's have a little look through. So this assignment's worth 30% of your overall mark for the whole teaching period for this unit. So assignment 1 gives you an opportunity to showcase your capability in using information and communication technologies to produce 2 short videos. In this, we're asking you to demonstrate your ability to design a video teaching resource that's appropriate to a particular year level grouping of your choice, from foundation to year 6. So by producing a video, it's helping you develop your communication skills for primary aged audiences and think about how you best target that age group that you've chosen. And it also allows you to analyse the quality and the usefulness of video resources for teaching. Now, we don't expect you to be professional video makers. We understand your students and that you'll be learning to use it. Most of you will not be that familiar with making videos. Some of you will, some of you won't. And you're not judged on that. So don't get worried about it. But as a teacher, I know and I see all the time, particularly in the upper year levels of school, they do a project and they say, oh, you can make a video. You can make a poster. You can do any way you like to present your understandings. You'll find doing this that it's actually harder than it seems. It's not something you just set off and tell children to go and make a video. They need to be taught how to make a video. So this gives you the opportunity to actually learn how to use 1 or 2 different styles of making a video. It might be an animation, it might be live with you in it. And you then will actually have some skills to take with you into the classroom, because classrooms in the 21st century really do use a lot of ICT, and it's really a great opportunity to get to understand an app or a video producing tool that you may not have been familiar with before. It's really good to have under your belt an understanding, a basic understanding of how to do this. And that way you can share it with children when you graduate or on your teaching pracs, which is even better. So go to the next slide. So don't stress about it. I know when you first start thinking about it, it's hard, but we'll help you through it. And you need to start this one early. You need to start thinking about it, and you need to make a decision reasonably quickly, because the more you deliberate, the later it gets. And sometimes the program you use might be a little challenging. So you need to make sure you've had a fiddle around with a few online resources. And if you choose to use a free one, make sure that you have, because they usually have like a trial period, you need to make sure that you know what you're going to do before the trial's ended and whether you do want to use that program. We don't want you buying expensive programs at all. There's plenty of things out there. We'll look at a couple of examples too. So the word limit is 2 videos. Each one is 3 minutes, plus or minus a minute. So we don't want them to be long, but 3 minutes is an adequate time to get the information you need to share in. So not longer than 3 minutes really, or 4 minutes max. So each one of the videos, so there's 2 videos, and each one of the videos has an accompanying rationale of 800 words. So basically 1,600 words altogether, but it needs to be evenly split. and that's plus or minus 10% per video. So when you're ready to have a think about it, the first stop is head over to the the second stop would be head over to the Q&A assignment 1 to ask any questions and see what your peers are saying about the assignment. They'll have plenty of good ideas and hopefully you'll all share some with each other. The first stop is actually going and having a look at the assignment information in our unit. So why create resources? Teachers regularly create resources for teaching, such as posters, graphic organisers, assessment organisers, flashcards, multimedia objects like online resources and videos. A key consideration when producing and using resources is your ability to determine the quality. So we're often like, I waste a lot of time looking for videos that are suitable for my class and the exact thing I really want them to understand. Every so often I'll find one that's perfect, but more often than not, they're not quite right. So I make stacks of resources, and all the teachers at our school do. We don't often make videos, but we do make videos from time to time, and some of us are more competent or confident than others. But this is a chance for you maybe to become one of those more competent or confident people in your school. So it's important that they're good quality resources. They're pitched at the right year level and the concept you're trying to cover. So you need to try to make something that could confidently be used by your colleagues within that year level as part of a unit of work. So this little video that you're making is just a little part of a unit. It would just fit in somewhere. We use videos throughout a whole unit for everything, maths, science, English, all the curriculum areas. But you want to make something that, if you're going to put in the effort, make it something that hopefully you could use or share with other people. And I often use videos as an introduction to an activity, and might be an activity that is in a sequence of activities. And when you did the Discovering Science unit, you would have been thinking about the 5 E's, the explore, explain, engage, all those parts. So I often use them as an engaging tool. That's where they often do fit most, but sometimes the children use them to explain their understandings too. So in this assignment, you're required to create 2 videos. One video must introduce a digital technology concept. The other, a design and technology concept. I'll show you the difference later, and maybe you're a little bit aware of that through Discovering Science, but that's more science focused than technologies as well. Digital technology and design technology come under the one umbrella of technologies, but they're 2 different things. The 2 videos you create should be able to be used to demonstrate a concept from the technologies area of the Australian curriculum. And I'll have a look at that in a minute with you. The year groupings and technologies component are outlined below. So, one video teaching resource is for design and technologies from foundation to year 2. So the design and technologies has to be pitched at foundation to year 2. It could be any year level within that or across that area. The other video resource that you're creating needs to be pitched or aimed at a digital technologies concept for years 3 to 6, so for the older children in the primary school. This, I would say, be quite specific, that it's year 3, 4, 5 or 6, or, it could be grade 5, 6. But when you look at the Australian curriculum, you'll realise that there's actually content descriptors that you will need to look at before you make your video, and that's what you'll be targeting. Same as foundation to year 2. A video I would show with foundation would not necessarily be suitable for year 2. So you need to look at the Australian curriculum first. when you make your videos, you need to make sure that they match the concept to the appropriate curriculum and age group. So the concept's the idea from the Australian curriculum. They need to accurately present the concept. They need to be engaging, inclusive, and model safe practices. So this little bit about the safe practices really throws some people. You will elaborate upon that in your rationale. So you can talk about not only the safe practices in the video, but you can talk about if you were making a video for the Foundation to Year 2 aimed at food production. You would think about how that sits in a unit of work and maybe what activities the children might be doing as a follow-up after watching your video, what safe practices you might need to think about there. That's a way of including safe practices. You would think about if they're handling food, allergies for children, washing your hands, simple things like that. You can mention the safe practices in the video, which a lot of people do as part of the introductory lesson or wherever it sits in the lesson. And you can also mention it in your rationale, but it's very important that you do that. And you'll find out a bit later why. So inclusive means all the children in the room are able to watch it, that it caters for different abilities and different learning styles. And in that, I think an inclusive video has to have a voiceover of some kind. If it's largely text and images, you're not including all children in your grade. So I would say you must include a voiceover, some kind of narration or something to make it really clear, because every classroom has children with different needs, and sometimes you can have visually impaired children in your class or children that find reading difficult, or they might be dyslexic, and a lot of text is not catering for everybody. Inclusive can also mean gender inclusive and other areas like that. The concepts you cover must align with a content descriptor from the Australian Curriculum Technologies. They have to. You need to choose a content descriptor that before you develop your video. Develop it with that in mind. Assume you're in the class with the children when this video is being played. So, for instance, you might, in your rationale, discuss how you might pause it at certain points, that there is a teacher there with the video. Considerations. So, consider how you can use your video to support the content of the concept you're focusing on. It does not have to be a whole lesson. In fact, it probably wouldn't be. It's just a part of it. It's not just a set of instructions telling children how to make something or how to do something. That's quite important too, because sometimes people make that mistake. They're just saying, now children, get your scissors out, cut the paper in half and fold it, and they're showing them how to do some kind of design technology. It needs to be a little more than that. It needs to be teaching, enhancing a concept, engaging children in that concept some way. And then it might just be a jumping off point for a lesson that continues after viewing the video. You need to consider why or why not you've included particular elements when you're designing your video. And this is what you discuss in your rationale. So why have you included animation? Why did you have a child with, in a wheelchair narrating the video? Why have you used clear, well-paced narration? Why did you include some areas of text or labelling that pops up in your video? Did you include music? Why did you do that? Now remember, this is being played in a classroom, so choose the element of the topic that's best presented in a video rather than just duplicating something you can do in the classroom. And that's where I go back to what I just said. Don't just have something you could do without a video. You could stand at a whiteboard and you can give instructions very easily. You can show children how to make a paper plane without a video. This is more about the concept you're talking about. So it's not just a teacher standing there talking at the children. That will not meet the criteria. So what do we mean by safe practices? I'm sorry, I forgot I had this slide. So when thinking about safe practices, and you do have to have this for a pass, you have to have safe practices considered in your rationale as a result of your video or in your video. So when thinking about safe practices in science and technology, you need to consider that the classroom environment is set up in such a way that students are able to access materials in a safe manner, and that you've considered any issues that may impede safety. That includes cords. I am constantly in my classroom picking up things, making sure cords are tucked away, because I can guarantee if there's something sticking out, they will fall over it. Children just fall off chairs without warning. You can't stop that, but you've got to make sure the classroom is set up in a way that they can view the video safely, that, children aren't sitting with their backs to the video, you're not watching it maybe from tables, that they're sitting on the floor or all their chairs are turned to face the video. That materials, software, etc. that you've used are age appropriate, and that's part of safe practice too, that you're showing images that are appropriate for that age group, and materials and concepts. That the students understand codes of conduct for safe and appropriate internet and ICT use or etiquette, particularly when you're thinking about the 3 to 6 digital technologies. Your video is introducing or elaborating on part of a concept that children will be using ICT. So you do need to consider that they understand safe internet use there. And so safety considerations can be included within the video or the rationale. Sometimes it's hard to include it in a video without losing the fluency of it, and might suddenly just seem a little peculiar. So long as you have addressed it in your rationale very clearly, we will be happy. So there are other considerations, and I'm sure you'll come up with some depending on what concept you're discussing and what style of video you're making. So where to start? First stop, Australian curriculum technologies. So the Australian curriculum is comprised of two distinct but related technologies is comprised of two distinct but related subjects. Design and technologies is where students use design thinking and technologies to create and produce design solutions for real needs or opportunities. So think design and technologies, it's from everything from food manufacturing to clothing design to, everything you pick up is pretty much technologies. Digital technologies, on the other hand, is where students use computational thinking. So it's not just viewing videos and playing with apps. Playing an app is not really developing digital technologies in a scholarly or educational way. It's a tool then. We're aiming to develop computational thinking and using and understanding information systems. So you can also search on YouTube for some science and technology videos for presentation ideas aimed at young children. That doesn't hurt at all. So there's a lot of stuff on the internet. Have a look for inspiration. These two websites down here, this New Zealand website's very good for ideas about digital technologies, and it's called CS Unplugged. This video will be, the Flipped Collaborate will be on the Padlet, which if you're watching it you would have found, and these websites are also there for you to check out. And DigiPubs is a Victorian government one where you can also find some good information about digital technologies. Now, don't spend too much time trawling around there. They're a bit tricky, some of these websites, but there might be some good ideas for you there. I just want to have a quick look at the Australian curriculum, which I think, no, this is my recorder. I thought I'd be clever and minimise these. Here we are. Okay, so Google the Australian curriculum and then Australian curriculum technologies, and you'll see this. Design and technologies and digital technologies. Click on design and technologies. Now you get a lot of choices. Don't select all. Select for design and technology. Select foundation for year 2. Submit. Sorry, my internet's a bit slow. So you'll scroll down and there's rationale, structure, aims, all those sorts of things. Read through this and then go to the content descriptors. So it's split into 2 parts, design and technologies, knowledge and understanding, and design and technologies, process and production skills. So it's not split up in Foundation 1 and 2, so it's by the end of grade 2 the children will do this. But you might want to hone it down a little bit, and maybe your videos aimed at the foundation, or I call them preps. So you say, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this one. Explore how plants and animals are grown for food, clothing and shelter, and how food is selected and prepared for healthy eating. Now you might think, oh, technologies, what's that got to do with technologies? But it does, because it's production thinking. And if you click on there, the actual link, you get these elaborations, and this might give you, will give you a much better idea of what you might think about for a whole lesson, where it might fit into a unit, and an idea for your video. So the elaborations for that are exploring which plants and animals can provide food or materials for clothing and shelter, and what basic needs those plants and animals have. A lot of students do choose this because it's it's got a bit of leeway in it, and children are really interested in animals and to learn more than they're just pets. And I might now, can I go back, only because I've got this screencast-o-matic on. I'll get off there. Oh, excellent, it didn't go all the way out. I'll click on another one just quickly, content descriptors. I personally, as a teacher, really like the processes and production skills, even though we are supposed to cater for everything. Let me have a look. This is a good one. Sequence steps for making design solution and working collaboratively. So your children might be involved in a problem-based learning project, and you might be focusing on the kind of things that they need to include in their, the design that they're making at the end of the unit. So this video might be about planning and what sort of things they might do in a group. So what group members might do, and how you might use a storyboard to make a plan. Now just be careful with some of these, because some people make a storyboarding video. It doesn't quite cater for the technologies in here. Have a good thorough read of the technologies area, because you can end up writing really something that would be for the English curriculum rather than technology. So have a good look through here, and I'll just go back. We'll have a quick look at the digital technologies. So really make sure that Foundation to 2 is design and technology, something out of there. Have a good look through and think, oh, what could I do? What sort of teaching would I do? They actually even link to activities and things like that. So you might think, oh, this unit of work looks interesting. I can make a video for this part of that unit of work. All right, so here I am. So years 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. This is for the digital technologies. You read through this and really read thoroughly through all of that. And I'm just going to click on the content descriptors because I don't want to keep you all day. So digital technologies, knowledge and understanding, processes and production skills. And these are the achievement standards. So say, let's click on digital technologies, process and production skills, years 3 to 4. And have a look and see what takes your fancy. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Let's have a look at this one. So, plan, create and communicate ideas and information independently and with others, agreeing on agreed ethical and social protocols. So this little number, this is the content descriptor. These are the elaborations. So these are ideas of things that you might do to meet that content descriptor. So consider ways of managing the use of social media to maintain privacy needs. For example, activating privacy settings to avoid divulging personal data such as photographs, addresses and names, and recognising that all digital interactions are difficult to erase. So you might make a video about digital footprints that would fit into a unit of work, and then the children will go off and maybe develop their own maybe posters or something using ICT to create some protocols for using when on the internet. All right, hop off here, get there, and back to here. Right. So, what to do next? After you've checked out the Australian curriculum, give yourself time to change your mind. So do it early. Go and look in there early. Think about what will you do. Then make a firm decision. I so strongly advise you to make a firm decision as soon as possible about what you think your video will be about or where it will fit. So make a firm decision on what concepts and content descriptors you're focusing on. Then develop a storyboard and script for yourself before you do it. Don't just, because many of these apps and video tools that you'll be using, they do have a 1-month trial. So if you haven't got a storyboard and a script and you just go in there and start making it, first of all, it probably won't be very good. Secondly, you won't be able to get it done in time. You need to really think about what images you're going to have, time it, read it aloud, have a practice, and then get the app and do it. So think about what engaging, sorry, I know that's my son ringing. I should have turned my phone on silent. Nobody calls me, so I wasn't really expecting anything. That's why I know it's him. Thank you. Sorry, everyone. So think about what engaging and effective pedagogical, so teaching strategies you'll include in each video. Animation, live action, a demonstration perhaps, and then use the best software for you to do this. What suits your story? What suits your video the best? How do you want it to look? So you'll find 4 example videos made by prior students in the Padlet, which is located in the Q&A Assignment 1 discussion thread. This is one of them, and we'll have a quick look at it now. I'm not going to watch the whole thing because that's going to make this a really long flip to collaborate for you. It only goes for 3 minutes, so we'll see how we go. This matches the following Australian content descriptors. Do you agree? See, sometimes they can match more than one, but this student matched it to these ones. I think it's best suited for Foundation to Year 2, so did this student. So it's the design and technologies, knowledge and understanding, identify how people design and produce familiar products, services, and environments, and consider sustainability to meet personal and local community needs. So that's one. The other one is design and technologies, processes, and production skills. So explore needs or opportunities for designing and the technologies needed to realise design solutions. And we'll see where you think this video might sit. Now, please, hopefully they'll work.
Pick, pick, pick. Pick, pick, pick. Hello, Crow. You're not eating the tomatoes in the kitchen garden again, are you? Ah! You're going to be in big trouble one of these days, Crow. Ah! Quick! I hear someone coming. You better get back up in your tree now. Here comes Mr. Smith and some of his students. Uh-oh! They have seen the tomatoes you've been eating, Crow. Mr. Smith thinks that you eating the tomatoes is a big problem, Crow. He's asking his students for some ideas on how this problem can be fixed. Looks like they've got some ideas, Crow. And they are making a plan. Oh, it looks like they're heading back into the classroom now. I think you're safe for the moment, Crow. Pick, pick, pick. Pick, pick, pick. Oh, Crow, not again. Hang on. It sounds like they're coming back again. And this time they've got lots of things with them. I wonder why they're bringing all that recycled rubbish with them, Crow. Is that some sort of design I can see? They've got lots of tools and safety gear with them too. I wonder what they're going to make, Crow. Ah! There's a lot of sawing and hammering going on down there too. It looks like they've almost finished now, Crow. Can you see what it is? Ah! Mr. Smith thinks that they've done a great job. Ah! I know what it is. It's a scarecrow. Oh no!
Okay, so you can see that video, they use Powtoon. A lot of students choose to use that. It seems to be quite good, looks reasonably easy to make. Now, as an ELA, and I've marked lots and lots of these, that's a really good one. It's very simple, it uses very clear language, it hasn't got heaps of music over the background so everyone could hear it, there's no interference there, the images are clear, and it creates discussion. So it's not telling the students anything. What that is setting a scene for a good discussion about, what did those children do? They solved a problem, and the kids can start thinking about a problem that they might need to solve and what tools they might need to do. So it's a simple idea is the most effective in a classroom. Let me have a look at the next one. So here's another video. It's quite different. It's aimed at, I think, grade 3-4, the content descriptor, digital technologies, processes, that's not the content descriptor, and production skills. The content descriptor that this one might meet was define simple problems and describe and follow a sequence of steps and decisions, which are called algorithms, and what's needed to solve them. So we'll have a look at this one. This is using a different program. Now, when you watch the 4 example videos, some of them actually just have a person talking, and that's just as good. You do not have to use an animated program if you choose not to. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's not. Oh, here we are. Okay, sorry, this does have the student's name, but we have permission for these.
Hi there. My name is Sophie. I am a computer programmer who creates games and apps, like the app that produced the clip you are watching now. You are watching my avatar speak for me. I look different in real life. Before you start creating and building your own programs in future lessons, it is important that you understand what an algorithm is and how to create them, both in sentence form and as a diagram. Algorithms are necessary for all computer programs. Algorithms directed Philae to detach from the Rosetta orbiter and land on a moving comet on November 12, 2014. Algorithms enable me to easily select different backgrounds for this presentation. This one is quite nice. It reminds me I need a holiday. They also allow me to change my clothes, voice, expression, hair and eye color. Without knowing it, you will have worked with algorithms before. For instance, a recipe is basically an algorithm written in sentence form. It has a starting point, a series of steps you must follow, and an end point. If your recipe algorithm is correct, you will hopefully end up with some delicious cookies. The pictorial instructions you follow to create a Lego model are also an algorithm. It is algorithms which control the actions of Prince Dashington and determine what he will do next. I love my Zuzu pets. They are so cute. So here is a challenge for you. Team up with a friend. Together write an algorithm, in sentences, for completing a simple task. As a starting idea, you could write an algorithm for picking up an object and moving it. Once you have written your algorithm, join another team, swap algorithms and test them together.
I'm going to stop that there. But so you get the idea. So have a look at the other ones. And if you do get ideas, I won't look at this number 3. You can look at these for yourself. This one, I kind of wish I showed you because it's got the live action person. But have a look. Don't be daunted by it. The only thing that will go wrong for you is that you take too long to make your decision and you'll panic. It's really, really important to get on top of this really quickly and really focus on what do I want to do, how am I going to do it. And the Australian curriculum is going to lead you there. Our weekly readings, our unit materials are really supportive. So producing your video, be as creative as possible to engage your students and think of the different types of videos you can create, such as using animations, live action role plays. There's a number of different devices you can use to produce your video. You might have your own video camera, or you might use the webcam on your computer. You might find it most convenient to use the video recording functionality of a camera or your iPhone. Select the Student Portal study resources. They have some really good resources there for you. I hope that's the right website there, but you know where it is. You go to help down the bottom of the homepage in Canvas and go into study resources. So, possible software and apps to use. Camtasia, it's pretty sophisticated. It's a licensed product, but you can do a 1-month trial period. So obviously timing's everything. YouTube video capture is another one which is definitely free. And there's some instructions if anyone wants to play there. So you can click on that website. I'll put these slides up. I'll put this up on the Padlet as a some support for you. Powtoon and Movely are online animation apps. Powtoon was really popular last time and they both have free education versions and the websites are there. Video Scribe is really good. Screencast-O-Matic is what I've used here. So you might be showing them a particular program on a computer, how to use it. You could use Video Scribe. Just be careful it's not just something you could put on the interactive whiteboard. Video Scribe, like I could stand here in a class and talk and show these slides. That's not a video. So it depends how you use it. And also Shot Clip, I don't really know that one, but I've heard it's quite good. And I'm sure there's a lot more now. They come out all the time. There's some really, really good things. Some great apps. I just see the kids using them in my classroom. I have no idea what they are. I will learn though. And this is the thing. As a teacher, we're time poor. Everyone's bringing out new things all the time. We actually don't even have time to have a play with them and work out what they are. This is your time to have a play with a good app or a good way of making a video, because you do need to know how to make particularly live action videos with children. You need to know how to use apps and programs. So this is your opportunity to do this before you're actually teaching, when you don't get much time to do this sort of stuff, figure out how to use software. It's always a problem in a classroom that we don't actually know how half of the things work. Now, written rationales. After you've made your video, you have to write an 800-word rationale for each video, which explains how the video supports the learning of the concept. So how does your video engage the class or support further understanding, or create discussion points related to the concept from the Australian curriculum? How can the video be used in an individual lesson, and where might it fit within a unit sequence? You should all be familiar with the 5 E's model from Discovering Science, or a PBL approach, which take care when writing about that. That's you really need to know what it really is, what a PBL approach is. It's quite a complex way of teaching, and or there's other ways, other approaches. Now, how the approach you've used in your video, so you're analysing your video, how the approach you've used to present the concept in the video is underpinned by effective pedagogy. So, what type of language have you used? How is this going to create points for discussion or further learning for the children? So what teaching strategies have you included in there? Why the approach you've chosen is engaging, inclusive, and demonstrates appropriate safe practices, which I think we've kind of covered. You'll have lots and lots of questions, okay? We know that. You must post them on your discussion board. Your ELAs are expecting them. So you're expected, within your 800-word rationale for each of them, to draw on the unit learning materials and wider research. And you need to cite these in APA style and include a reference list. Have one reference list at the end. Your reference list is not included in the word count. You must support your work with academic references. It's really important that you do that. It's a university level assignment. The rationales are not essays, all right? You're just talking about your videos and how you have catered for the students, how you've developed the concept within your video, and why, what parts of your video you're breaking it down, going, well, in this part, there's a child in a wheelchair because children with disabilities will feel they will identify with that. So you're being inclusive. So the corresponding rationales for each of the videos will provide an explanation of how the teaching concepts modelled in the videos would be positioned within the lessons, just reiterating what I just said, and a wider unit sequence. Employ effective pedagogy, engaging, inclusive, and model safe practices. Sorry, that's a bit boring, just repeated myself. So, submitting your presentation. We sometimes have a lot of trouble opening up your videos. So, in order to submit your presentation, you must first upload the video you've recorded into YouTube. So depending on how you've produced it, you might need to transfer it to your computer, or you may be able to upload it directly from your smartphone or tablet. If you're not sure how to do this, the study resources section of the student portal provides a lot of technical guides. It's really good. I won't go through all that, so check that out. Once your video is uploaded to YouTube, you need to generate a link to share the video and add this to your rationale. So have the video link, rationale, and then the next video link, and then your rationale. And so please, please, please make sure that your YouTube video is set to unlisted or public so your ELA can access them easily. Also, keep checking your emails because sometimes things go wrong and we will email you, and you must be regularly checking your emails because there can be issues with that. Please don't leave uploading to the last minute and then email us and say, I've made my video and I can't upload it and it's the day it's due. Try to give yourself a day or two minimum so before you do that, because it can be really challenging. Most people don't have a problem, but it's very stressful for you if you do have a problem. So give yourself time. Make sure you're time managing. So in addition to your ELAs who provide discipline-specific content advice, you can access the great resources in the student portal. You can also access Studiosity, but I would save this for assignment 2, which is a scholarly academic essay, because it's based on word count and also folio. They don't give back feedback on videos. They don't give feedback on lesson plans. So don't waste your points with this one. So we've seen that lots of students submit folios and lesson plans to the service for feedback, and they're quite disappointed with the feedback they're given because that's not what it's for. It's for the more academic style of writing. That being said, we do expect your rationale to be written in third person and in an academic manner. I'm just guessing you probably see my eBay thing flipping up. Anyway, ignore that. I've just said that. So given that, I'd suggest that you keep it for assignment 2. If you need assistance with academic feedback on your draft, which you might, because you might be unsure of how to write it exactly, get in touch with your ELA. There is an online thing called Grammarly if you haven't used it, which might pick up some of the grammar errors or anything. If you have a little bit of trouble writing, sometimes it's English as a second language and stuff, and I would suggest using Grammarly because that can be challenging whether or not English is a second language. But doesn't always pick up everything I've found. Some students get a little bit upset. I always read my work aloud. Sometimes I read it to a friend, and that you can really tell if it makes sense or not, and that's a really good way of doing it. So read it to someone or get someone to read it for you. Okay, this is a holistic rubric. Now, it's different than most of the rubrics. You might have come across them in some of your subjects. This is the only one in the science units that I know of. To pass, you need to closely review your videos and rationales for the assignment 1 prior to submission. This is a holistic rubric, which means you have to meet all criteria to move on from a pass to a credit and so on. If you haven't got everything for that pass, you can't move on to a credit. No matter how fantastic your video is, unless the safety criterion, that's an example, is discussed in the rationale, you can't really meet the pass criteria. It is part of it. Highlight all the things you need to tick off for a pass. Make sure you attend to it all. So have a very close look at your work and make yourself a checklist or the keywords in there. So let's have a look at it. Pass. All aspects of the task must be completed. This is just a pass. And the work must be your author's own. Oh, I must say, if you get ideas from online, don't copy somebody's video. We'll know. Like, it's pretty obvious, and we've had that happen before, and it's it's pretty obvious if you're directly copying a video or using someone else's. So please make sure you don't do that. So the work must be the author's own, except where you've cited an academic reference. The requirements of all criteria must be met at a satisfactory level as described by the standard statements, which are: concepts presented within the videos are accurate. The viewer is able to identify, without reading the rationale, the particular technological concept covered. So I should be able to watch your video and know, oh, this is aimed at grade 1 and it's about the food production skills, without reading the rationale. The video must be able to be viewed on standard classroom equipment, for example, an interactive whiteboard, laptop, iPad. It includes so for a pass, a basic explanation of the following key video features. How does the video support learning of the technological concept? How the concepts within the video are matched to the Australian curriculum. So these are your checklist. You've got to attend to all of this. You need to write a few sentences about each. How can the video be used within an individual lesson and or within a broader unit sequence? What teaching strategies are utilised in the video? You need to discuss that very clearly. Your video and or rationale shows awareness of safety, so you've got the option of either or both. So you've thought about safety considerations. You won't pass if you don't do that. I know it sounds horrible, but it's true. I didn't write this. While there are some errors in your APA referencing, you do provide evidence to support your ideas, although this evidence may be drawn from a limited range of sources. So for a pass, you have to have some academic references. First stop, our unit readings. They're fantastic. And this is an awesome unit. You're going to walk out of this and, you might feel nervous now about talking about STEM or STEAM. And at the end, you'll be really happy. I would not have considered myself a science person. Science and technology are my very, very favourite things to teach. They're so much fun. They're so engaging. So you'll love this unit. Don't get worried. So, sorry, I digress. Your rationale is proofread so that most typographical and spelling errors are eliminated, and any errors that are present do not detract substantially from the communication of ideas. So that's about clarity. It makes sense. Keep it simple, all right, when you're writing, and that is always the best way of writing. For a credit, so all of the pass descriptors are met. Maybe, not in great detail, but they're all met in some way. And for any higher, for a credit, you have to show that your concepts are very clear and easy to understand. The concepts are presented in a manner that demonstrates awareness of the class year level. So these are in addition to a pass. So you'll have a longer checklist. Your rationale includes a more comprehensive explanation of the key features of the video. It's really impressive when students analyse their video. Why have they made the video the way they made it? That's the key to this. And there's a developing understanding of how the approach used in the video reflects contemporary teaching practice within a technological learning context. When we say technological, we mean the technologies, both digital technologies and design technologies, depending on the video. You need to understand how the concepts are matched to the Australian curriculum. So we want a bit of an explanation. How did you match them? Why do they match? Apart from minor issues in your text, it's well written, it's clear, you've proofread it properly, and you adhere to APA referencing. And you've got a good range of sources there, not minimal. So a good range of academic sources to support your rationale. So for a distinction, all of the pass descriptors, all of the credit descriptors, and then your video will be a little more sophisticated. It's highly effective in communicating your intended learning outcomes. in relation to both the specific technological concepts and Australian curriculum documentation. The choice of video presentation, such as animation, live action, role play, etc., has been carefully considered to engage students at the particular year level. Your rationale demonstrates a reflective analysis of your videos. This is evident in the way your response, I might have made a typo there, the way your response purposefully integrates a wide range, so that's the key for that part, wide range of relevant academic readings to support your discussion. Now, just on that, websites are not academic readings, all right? And a lot of you are going to say, oh, do I reference images? If you've taken your image from a particular site, yes, you do have to acknowledge where you got that image from. So you can, have a little separate thing about where you got your images from. Academic websites, yes, of course you have to reference them if you've used them, but that doesn't really count as scholarly peer-reviewed literature. So take care, all the literature we use in our unit materials is scholarly peer-reviewed literature, and Google Scholar can add that, and also the Swinburne Library has some interesting things if you do a keyword search for if there's a particular idea you want to discuss in more detail. Some of your other unit readings would be excellent to draw on. Your rationale shows clear awareness of safety considerations relating to both the particular content area and year level. Your use of language and referencing is free of error, demonstrating attention to detail. Now, it's a part of time management that you proofread. So I find sometimes people do a really great job and they've rushed it at the last minute and there's a lot of mistakes in their work. Take care to have a little more time to make sure you proofread it effectively, or get someone to proofread it for you if you have troubles. High distinction. So you must fulfil the requirements of the credit grade, and that should actually say and distinction grade, but at a higher standard. So your video is innovative, demonstrates original choices that have been carefully chosen to effectively and accurately present technological concepts, match to the Australian curriculum documentation, and engage your target year level. Can I just say, you might think those videos that we just had a look at aren't innovative or necessarily original, but in the scheme of things they are for a student, like might be your first time making them. They've done a really good job and had a good think about, what would engage the students. I mean, they had very good rationales to go with them too. And they were high distinction students, and that is based on the rationales and how they broke down their videos. So we don't expect Steven Spielberg's made them, all right? But we do expect you to take care with the sound so that we can listen to them and they're effective. But innovative, you've really had a think about how you're going to engage discussion, or how this is a prompt for students to go on to the next level of their assignment. Your rationale demonstrates sophisticated and insightful reflective analysis of your video submissions, and this is evident in the way you logically and meaningfully justify your choices in relation to contemporary pedagogy and classroom practice. Your response also purposefully integrates a wide range of relevant academic readings to support your discussion, and shows evidence of a familiarity with current research. So it's a much higher level, high distinction. Now, I can see a typo there, it's really weird. I will post this flipped collaborate up onto the Padlet as soon as it's downloaded to YouTube. And any issues, please contact your ELA and do it as soon as possible. But before you panic, have a look at the Australian curriculum well, obviously first have a look at the assessment and go through this criteria. But I think if you go from a point that I'm a teacher in a classroom, this is what I would love to show my kids as part of this unit, you'll kind of understand it a little bit better. It's got to be something you would like to use. You think as a teacher, this would be a good thing to do. I wish I had this. So go from that. If you're interested and enjoy it, it will make it much more relevant. And hopefully you'll end up with a resource you can use and a good think about why you've made it the way you've made it. I think I might need to get off. Okay. So see you at the live Collaborate, and thank you everybody. And yeah, thanks a lot. Bye.